Good morning, everybody. Welcome to K-State Research and Extension's First Friday e-call. The E stands for entrepreneurship, but you can't have a good, healthy small business system if you don't have a vital community. And so many of our programs are based on community development and community vitality as much as entrepreneurship. But our purpose is to bring you the experts, the education, and the economic resources to help you help your community and help us teach each other. And as people who are teaching each other, if you have something to share at the end, please know that we welcome your sharing at the end of the call. And so think about what you'd like to share, because we do learn from each other. The call is being recorded, and later I'll put the link to where that recording is. But if you're on this call, you should be getting an email telling you about the fact that the call is ready to go, has been posted and is ready to go. So we are going to start right off by introducing Alan Vinyard with the Kansas Department of Labor, and he's going to tell us about a no-cost health and safety consultation to help you keep your workplace safe. So Alan, feel free to take it away. Oh, and before, now that we're started, as you join us, please add where you're coming from and your position in your community. We'll see your name, but if you'll just introduce yourself in the chat, we'd love to find out where you're coming from. Thanks. Alan.
Thank you, Nancy. Let me get, okay. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. We are the Kansas Department of Labor, Industrial Safety and Health. And I think one of the important things we're trying to do is we're trying to get our exposure a little bit more out there, to let people know who we are and what we do. So that's what I'm hoping to accomplish this morning, is just to kind of give you an idea of who we are and what we do on a daily basis. What I'm going to try to cover is we're going to talk about our free safety and health services. And you're going to see that a lot because that's one of the things that we really like to emphasize, is that everything we do is a free service to the people of the state of Kansas. I'm going to talk a little bit about the benefits of using our services, what to expect if we come out to do a walkthrough at your facility or your location. We have a couple achievement recognition programs, and we're also going to talk about how to request our services. The easiest ways to reach Industrial Safety and Health, you can call us by phone at 785-296-4386. We still have a mailing address. We still do snail mail. And we're also online at departmentoflabor.ks.gov/ISH. So I've got another slide at the end with this same information. So I'll show it again later. Just to kind of give you a little bit of background on myself, I am the Director of Industrial Safety and Health. Graduated from the University of Central Missouri with a degree in safety management. I have been working in the employee safety and health field my whole career. I started with the Kansas Department of Labor as a safety consultant long time ago. I was the Director of Safety for Kansas Department of Transportation, and I've done some outside work for private construction companies as well. I'm close to about 25 years of state service. Starting to talk about retirement, which I never thought I'd do, but it's starting to get to sort of get to those days. I am a professional member of ASSP, and I've also obtained my associate safety professional and certified safety professional designations in the last couple of years. To kind of show you how industrial safety and health is broken up, because we may have people that get a little bit into any of our programs. We have our public sector, which is our cities, counties, and school districts. We also run the amusement ride safety program. We have our OSHA consultation program, and we also do training. This is something that we've just started recently, providing safety and health training. The consultation program, which is what I'm going to kind of focus mostly on today, goes by a couple of different names. You will see it called the OSHA consultation program. You may see it called the 21D consultation program. 21D is just the paragraph in the OSHA standard that kind of talks about what the consultation program does. Some people might call it the on-site consultation program, or some people just call it Kansas consultation. The main thing that I'd like to stress here or emphasize here is we are not OSHA. We get funding from federal OSHA, but that's as far as it goes. A lot of times we show up on site and people say, oh, OSHA's here. And it's like, no, we're not OSHA. And we have no real connection with them other than for the fact that we receive federal grant money from them. So on our consultation program, we kind of emphasize why it's a good thing to request a consultation from us. It can help control your workers' compensation insurance rates, improve the safety and health of your employees, increase productivity, and also increase profitability. These are the things that we think will happen. This is what we try to make happen. We try to, by keeping your employees safe at work, increases their productivity and makes it a better workplace. And we hope in the end increases profitability as well. Our OSHA consultation provides, again, there's that word, free safety and health consultations to private businesses in Kansas. We focus on small businesses, those people with less than 250 employees. So we do not get into the larger companies, the Walmarts, the UPSs, things like that. We are mainly focused on small businesses in the state of Kansas. This is a free service. Everything we do is at no cost to the employer. It is confidential. We don't share any of our information with anybody else. And again, that includes OSHA. They cannot, if we go out and do a walkthrough at a facility, they cannot come to us and ask for our copy of our report. We won't share any of that information with them. It is just totally confidential. It's just between us and the employer. It has to be requested by the employer. So we cannot, if an employee calls to us to complain about something that's going on in their workplace, we have to refer them to somebody else because we cannot go in unless it's requested by the employer. Last year, we did over 300 health and safety consultations in the state of Kansas. I think we did 340, I think was our total for last year. So like I said, we stay pretty busy. We have consultants all across the state of Kansas. So that way we can get somebody out as quickly as we need to. So we have people, you know, in Kansas City all the way out to Phillipsburg. So we do cover the whole state of Kansas. Here's some of the benefits of some of the people we have done walkthroughs for. American Mapland of McPherson, you can see, was pretty happy with what we were able to help them with. And then Flame Engineering in La Crosse. Safety program doesn't cost you money. Better morale. And I can tell you that Flame Engineering in La Crosse has gone about 20 plus years without a lost time accident at their location. So, and that's a location we go to every single year. They just have us come in every year. We just book it in advance and come back out to their facility. So what to expect. So I'll back up a little bit. When you put in a request for our services, you'll go to our website and enter in a request for a visit, and we will assign it to the consultant that's closest to you as far as territory goes. So they will contact you and schedule a date that works for you to come out and visit your facility. They will explain the purpose, scope, and procedures of the visit. One thing we try to emphasize is that the visit is for the employer. So the employer totally controls the visit from beginning to end. So if an employer only wants us to come out and look at electrical or exits or fire, things like that, they can just tell us, hey, I only want to look at this one item or this one section. We don't have to come out and do a full walkthrough. We think it's good for us to do a full walkthrough, but it doesn't have to be that way. So like we said, the employer controls the whole visit. So the consultants may talk to some of the employees and kind of ask them, you know, to give them a little bit of information on their workstation or, you know, how they do a certain process. And but again, everything is controlled by the employer. You know, if they say, we don't want you to go in this area or talk to these employees, whatever, then we will we will do whatever they ask us to do. So if we get into a unionized work site, we will allow employee representatives to participate fully in the consultation visit from start to finish. What we do is we walk around and we're looking for hazards according to the OSHA standards. And we will talk with the employer about what we're seeing. We will give them the option of fixing it right there on site. or if they need more time, we'll afford them 30 days to make the necessary corrections. The only thing that we ask is that at the end, we will send what's called a list of hazards. And we ask that that gets posted somewhere that the employees have access to it so they can see what we wrote up. If we ever get into a situation where we have something that's called a serious danger to life and health, we will ask that it gets corrected immediately. I think last year we only wrote one of those, or we only found one of those. So it's not a very common occurrence, but it does happen. So we encourage employees' participation. You know, we don't let them, we don't shy away from any of their questions or anything. We will look at your written safety and health programs if they exist. And if they don't exist, we have samples that we can send to an employer that that they can sort of write and format in their own way to make that easier for the employer to have on site. We will also look at the injury and illness logs, or what's called the OSHA 300 logs, if they are available. OSHA 300 logs are only mandatory to be kept if the employer has 10 or more employees. So if you have less than 10 employees, you don't have to keep a OSHA 300 log. But if you do and you have one, we will look it over. Also, one of the things we do is if somebody doesn't have an OSHA 300 log, or they've not heard of one, we can come in and show your bookkeeper, your HR representative on how to fill those out properly. So that's, you know, we can do that as training or whatever, to again get people to understand how to keep the OSHA 300 logs. Here are some of the written programs that you're supposed to have according to OSHA guidelines. One is an emergency action plan on what to do in case of fire, tornado. One of the things that we've been working on lately is violence in the workplace, and what the employer should do if there's a violent incident in their location. So that's something OSHA's been pushing recently, and so we've been trying to work with some employers on that as well. Hearing conservation program, that's only if you have loud noises in your facility. PPE hazard assessment, I can tell you, is one of the things that our group saw the most last year. That's one of the things that we wrote up the most, is that employers who were not doing proper PPE hazard assessments. So there was nothing in writing that said somebody needed to wear a hard hat or gloves or steel-toed boots, those types of things. So, and then down there at the bottom is hazard communication. It's also called the right to know law. And that's been around for quite a few years, but it is still one of the things that gets written up the most times when OSHA comes out to do an inspection at a location. I think it's been in the top 5 for like the last 20-25 years, something like that. So the walkthrough inspection, again, we focus on specific conditions or hazards, and we will confer with the employees during the walk around. So and again, like I said, we will, you know, if it's something that employer just wants to look at certain items, certain things, then that's something that we'll look at and help them with. So hang on one second. Okay. The walkthrough will address hazards covered by OSHA standards and those not covered by current federal or state standards that pose a risk to safety and health. So we will look at other things. Maybe we're, looking at something under NFPA, National Fire Protection, ANSI, some of the state standards. We'll be covering all those when we come out and do a walk around. Again, if we find an imminent danger, that's something that we ask to be taken care of immediately before we leave the site. And like I said, we only found one of those last year. So they're not very common, but again, they do happen. Here are OSHA's most cited standards for last year. If you see the numbers, 1926 is construction and 1910 is what we call general industry. So the most cited hazard was fall protection on construction sites last year. And down there on the fourth one, again, is one of the things that I was talking about is hazard communication or right to know law. And that's really making sure that you know all the chemicals on your site and you have what's called a MSDS, Material Safety Data Sheet, or now they're just called SDSs on your location that explains what chemicals you have and then what happens if someone becomes exposed to those chemicals, what the hazards are, what the personal protective is. Anyway, and then more scaffolding, fall protection, lockout, tag out. So again, that kind of gives you an idea of what OSHA's looking for when they come out to locations. Again, I really keep, I want to make sure that I explain hazard communication and safety data sheets to everybody. These are what the new ones look like. It has now 16 sections and tells you everything on identification, first aid measures, accidental release, handling and storage. So it gives you a little bit of information again on all those chemicals that could be in your workplace. After we finish doing our walkthrough, we'll have what's called a closing out meeting, and we will talk about what we found as far as the hazards go. We'll talk about when the abatements are due. We usually give 30 days to make the corrections, and lately with supply issues and those types of things, we've had to give a little bit more time. But we'll work with the employer to make sure that they have enough time to make the corrections. And then if you need what's called an extension, you need another 30, 60 days, we'll give you that. As long as the employer is showing good faith effort, again, maybe they've had a supply issue or can't get an electrician out, something like that. So we'll give some extended days if that's what's needed. Then we will provide a report, and this kind of gives you an idea of what the report will look like. We'll have everything listed as what we saw, the corresponding OSHA standards, and then we'll give you a little bit of guideline on how to make the corrections within the report itself. We have what's called our SHARP program, our Safety and Health Achievement Recognition Program. In the state of Kansas, we have about 147 SHARP sites, and we have right now, I believe, the most in the country. So we're pretty proud of our SHARP program. And it says here, by achieving SHARP status, you have placed yourself in an elite group of small businesses that maintain exemplary injury and illness prevention programs. You will also be granted an exemption from OSHA programmed inspections for up to 2 years. So if we find a company that goes above and beyond on their safety and health program, we will try to get them into the SHARP program. And again, this is kind of the best of the best of small businesses in the state of Kansas on safety and health programs. And there's, again, that's our SHARP program logo. We also are responsible for amusement ride safety in the state of Kansas. The current regulation, KSA 44-1601, came into existence in 2008. It kind of just sat there for a few years until, unfortunately, we had the major accident at the Schlitterbahn in 2016. And then all of a sudden our amusement ride program kind of took off. So right now we have about 150 permitted entities operating in Kansas with close to 1,000 rides permitted. So these carnivals that come through the state fair, the county fairs, we are responsible for making sure that the operators are properly training their ride operators and doing everything they can to keep the amusement rides as safe as possible. An amusement ride is defined as any mechanical device that carries or conveys passengers along or over a fixed or restricted route or course, giving its passengers pleasure, thrills, or excitement as defined in 44-1601. To kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at, we're looking at carousel rides. Inflatables is the big one. We are responsible for making sure that those people that operate inflatables are doing it properly and safely. Some examples of what we call amusement rides: Ferris wheels, water slides that are at least 35 feet in height and that use water to propel the patron through the ride, carousels, inflatable devices, trampoline parks, we're responsible for those. So we do a little bit of everything under our amusement ride program. Again, here on our website is kind of more information on the amusement ride program and how to get your rides permitted. Public sector. Our public sector workplace is responsible for 105 counties, 627 cities, 308 school districts, 92 state agencies, and 36 higher education locations. So anything that has a owned by the public sector is our responsibility. The things we do under our public sector safety, we are responsible for workplace fatalities that happen in public sector locations. So cities, counties, state fatalities, we are responsible for doing the investigation on those. We respond to employee complaints. We do ergonomic evaluations by request. Monitor public service on a regular basis, and we also have trained industrial hygienists on staff to help monitor air particulates and take sound level readings. And that's for our public sector and our 21D program, is we have industrial hygienists on staff that will do environmental monitoring. Under public sector, we have what's called our SHAPE Award, which is our Safety and Health Award for public employees. And again, these are those that are going above and beyond for the safety of their employees. And like I said, recently we've added a training part to our program. We do OSHA 10-hour training, and we do training on any topic, anything that involves employee safety and health. We do training on that. So we've only just kind of got this off the ground, but we've been doing probably about 2 OSHA 10-hour courses a month over the last couple of months. And again, we're trying to expand our training a little bit. We also have DVDs for training purposes that people can request, and we will send them to you, and then you mail them back to us when you get done with them. We just actually got rid of all of our VHS tapes here a few months ago, so we're down to just DVDs now. So again, this is how to reach us by phone, 296-4386, and online at dol.ks.gov/industrial safety and health. And that is all I have for today.
Thank you, Alan. That was great. I want to call people's attentions. The Michael Amick's affirmation. He says, I highly encourage small business owners to reach out to Alan and his team for this no-cost safety evaluation to reduce risk and potential federal OSHA investigations. He used to be a former wage and hour investigator at USDOL, and he understands how many small business owners are not aware of the labor regs. So he is helping us realize just how important Alan's program is to help people know what the unknowns are in your situation. I really could see that when you told us about the company that requested you every year. It tells me that it makes it visible to your employees so that they also become aware of what you're trying to do too. And I thought that was neat.
Yeah.
Ron Wilson with the K-State's Boyd Center asks, in addition to amusement rides, does your program cover public safety at other types of venues like restaurants, museums, or tourist attractions?
We do not. Department of I believe it's Ag handles all the restaurants in the state of Kansas. We don't get into anything involving food safety. So we're just mostly focused on employee safety.
Great. Other questions? Great question, Ron. So, Alan, one thing I heard you talk about was the necessity, the obligation of the employer to do anything to make sure that people comply with the things that you found. Is that right?
Yes.
And so what is the follow-up on that? Are you pretty stringent? Is there anything that happens if they don't follow up?
We have the authority. If we had an employer that just absolutely refused to fix anything that we found, we have the authority to turn them over to federal OSHA. But since this program has been in existence since '73, I believe, that has never occurred.
Right.
We work
just to help them.
Yeah, we work very closely, with the employer, trying to help them as much as we possibly can. It gets a little frustrating for us because, we get people all the time who say, oh, I wish I knew about your program 2 years ago, or, before we had this injury, or, whatever the case may be. And I think that's kind of what we're trying to do is make sure people know who we are. So we don't have that anymore, so that, we're a nice group to work with. We are the good guys. We don't wear the black hats or anything. We're trying to help the small businesses. because we know that small businesses can have a full-time safety person on staff, but that's kind of the role that we can play in helping the small businesses out.
That's great. What other questions do you have? Marianne Reeder from Northeast Kansas says, great presentation. Curious, when an employer contacts you, what is the typical timeline for your rep to conduct a scheduled visit?
Right now, we're probably within about 2 weeks that we can get out to a location. This is kind of our slow time coming through the holiday seasons into early January. Usually because new budgets have started, or things like that. But yeah, right now I'd say we're probably at about 2 weeks from getting a request to getting somebody out there. It may be a little longer somewhere around in the Johnson County area, just because we do have a lot of requests in that area. But again, like I said, 2 to 3 weeks we can be out there.
Good. And what time frame should somebody expect if the Marmaton Market, which is a small grocery store and commercial food kitchen, asked you to come? How long would they expect that you'd be in their building? I know it must vary depending on the kind of business.
It does. It varies by business and consultant and those types of things, but I would say we average about 2 hours inside a building. So if we get there at 9, we're usually out by 11 or no later than 12. Unless the employer really, really wants us to go through everything with a fine-tooth comb.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, usually, you're usually looking at a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours.
Great. Any other questions? We're not going to hold you here longer than we have information. Or if you have anything to share, I'll open up the time. Alan, thank you very much. I hope your phone starts ringing. I will remind you all that this is going to go on the website probably this afternoon, depending on whether our webmaster is available to post it. So feel free to forward it to anybody at any time, and the slides will be there too, so that you can see the contact information. Michael, do you have something to share? No?
Yes, I just wanted to comment that this service provided by the Kansas Department of Labor is really, it should be known a lot more, because when it comes to federal labor or any other investigation, negligence is no excuse. You'll just find out in the final meeting with the investigator what your violations are, and there are fines. So there are a lot of unknowns out there, and that's one of the reasons why I'm at SBA and not Wage and Hours, because it was just tough to to deal with employers that really had great intentions and there were really no complaints, so to speak. So
Yeah.
This is really a great service. With the SBA, we're going to have, every couple of years, we put on a suppliers conference, and this is where we bring in big companies, federal agencies, state agencies, so forth, to a conference, and we invite suppliers, vendors, small businesses to have the opportunity to meet one-on-one, short 10-minute, what's that called? Rapid interviews, so to speak. Speed dating. Yeah, so we're gonna, save the date, June 14th and 15th. This summer, we're gonna have it. Textron Aviation is donating their big conference center there at Central and Webb Road here in Wichita. And, we're hoping to have about 200 people. And so it's an opportunity to get to meet, face to face with potential buyers from large organizations. So I just want to put that on everybody's calendar. June 14,
Awesome.
15 in Wichita. Thanks.
Feel free to send that to me and I'll try to get it out at the right time.
We also do our annual safety and health conference every year. Last year it was in Manhattan. This year, 2023, it's in Topeka. Last week of September, I believe it's a 25th, 26th, 27th, somewhere in that range. And again, it's a lot of, keynote speakers and breakout sessions talking about employee safety and health. And last year in Manhattan, we had a NASA astronaut come and give a keynote speech, and we had somebody from Homeland Security talking about cybersecurity. So we touch on a little bit of everything. And like I said, we got our 2023 is going to be in Topeka last week of September.
Great. Well, thank you for being with us, Alan, today. And
Thank you for having me.
yeah, I've got a few other announcements. The 5th annual survey of rule challenges is prepared every 2 years every 2 years by the Savior.town. And it's ready for your answers about what are your challenges. And the survey, they're trying to close it down. I sent them a message saying, don't close it down yet. I'm going to announce it today. So we'd love to have your input on that. We've started our K-State Research and Extension grant workshops. Again, this year, we have them scheduled throughout the year, but the 3 that are posted right now are in February, March, and April. They're $60 each. We're going to be doing some for some public entities as well. But the ones that are open to the public for the next 3 months are on that site that I sent you. And then finally, if you want to know what the schedule is for the year of both grant workshops and for First Friday calls, you can see them at the K-State Community calendar in that link. And if you don't already know it, if you open up your chat and you see in the spot that you type into, there are 3 little ellipse buttons on the top right, and you can press save chat and get all of this information. But it'll also be coming out in the follow-up emails that I send afterwards. On our next call is Steve Radley, the CEO of Network Kansas, will tell us about a new program that they have called Grow Kansas, and it's the opportunity to get financial capital for your small business. And I guess I do have one last chat link for you, and that's the Grow Kansas, if you want to look that over. And so Steve will be telling us about that opportunity for new funding for small businesses. So thank you all for joining us. And I always like to leave you with a little thought for today, and in honor of Martin Luther King this month. A quote by Martin Luther King: "Only in the darkness can you see the sky. Can you see the stars?" Thanks everybody for joining us, and create a great Kansas day.